Tim King, and I'm editor of European Voice, a newspaper in Brussels that follows the European Union in all its ins and outs.
All right. My first question would be, what was for you the most inspiring idea you've heard in this panel or this symposium, or the most uninspiring idea?
The most inspiring, the ones that make me think most, are there was very early on an interesting idea about the conflict between politics and the European Court of Justice, and whether or not the European Court of Justice was ending up having to do the work of politicians. Now, that to me was an interesting idea that isn't really talked about much in Brussels. So that was an interesting insight for me. Otherwise, it's interesting to come to Berlin and to get to hear some thoughts about Germany's attitude to Europe and the Eurozone crisis. So to listen to the German minister with all his rather bold ideas about elected European Commission presidents and things like that. That was very interesting and rather stays with one. There were plenty of ideas in every session. I think overrunning everything, I've been fascinated by the problem of democratic legitimacy. That's great.
And related to that, the problem of the communication of the European Union. As a journalist, how do you perceive the general way of communicating of the European Union?
It might be a cop-out, but the problem of communicating the European Union isn't my problem, because my readership on a newspaper which is wholly devoted to the European Union, my readership is very receptive to hearing and reading about the European Union. The European Union's big problem institutionally is reaching the people who just have no interest in the European Union and what the European Union does to them. So communicating the big ideas about the European Union to them, that's the difficulty. Do I have any constructive suggestions to how other people might do it? I think the most important thing is to address the big questions and not get caught up in the small questions. At the moment there's an interesting illusion because the Eurozone crisis is a big question, and so it's much easier to communicate about the European Union at this moment.
All right, thank you very much for your time.